There's so many things happening in the world today. I'm reading from Matthew chapter 6 today. It's a famous sermon of Jesus, well attended. And the question was, why was he well attended? He had not done any miracles. He hasn't started raising the dead. But Matthew 5, 6, 7 is the great message, the first message of that Jesus spoke to people. And he wasn't telling them about heaven or hell. He wasn't threatening them. He was telling them what was inside them, that God has already forgiven them, and this is what they will need to do. In verse 25 to 34, the Passion Translation, it said, "This is why I tell you to never be worried about your life, for all that you need will be provided, such as food, water, clothing, everything your body needs. Isn't there more to your life than a meal? Isn't your body more than clothing? Look at all the birds. Do you think they worry about their existence? They don't plant or reap or store up food, yet your heavenly Father provides them each with food. Aren't you much more valuable to your Father than they? So which one of you, by worrying, could add anything to your life? And why will you worry about your clothing? Look at all the beautiful flowers of the field. They don't work or toil, and yet not even Solomon in all his splendor was robed in beauty more than one of these. So if God has clothed you with hay, which is here for such a short time, and then dried up and burned up, won't he provide for you the clothes you need? Even though you live with such little faith. So then forsake your worries." Look at your brother, say, forsake your worries. Why will you say, what will he eat? Or what will we drink? Or what will we wear? For that is what the unbelievers chase after. Doesn't your heavenly Father already know the things your bodies require? So above all, constantly chase after the realm of God's kingdom and the righteousness that proceeds from him. Then all these less important things will be given to you abundantly. Refuse to worry about tomorrow, but deal with each challenge that comes your way one day at a time. Tomorrow will take care of itself. You can also read from New King James Version. I put it there. Verse 28 says, "So why do you worry about clothing?" Today, my message is divine invitation. Divine invitation. Worry or trust. Worry or trust. Jesus, in the Sermon of the Mount, was a new rabbi with authority. The Hebrew call is the rabbi with shemika. It's a rabbi. You can be a rabbi with authority or a rabbi without authority. After you graduate from the school of the books, you enter the school of discipleship for another 18 years. No wonder there was no record of Jesus' life from the age of 12 to 30. He was in the school of discipleship, and by 30, he was commissioned as a rabbi with two authority. The authority of John the Baptist and the authority of the Father himself, who commissioned him as the rabbi with authority, who can now start his own school. His own school. If you are a rabbi without authority, you can't start your own school. And so everybody was coming to hear the new rabbi. There were two rabbis in the lifetime of Jesus, but they said they died about when Jesus was in his late teenage age. And they believe that Rabbi Hillel was the one that trained Jesus, and there was another called Rabbi Shammai. These were the rabbis that had authority, and when they say binding and loosing, every rabbi has his own yoke. Every rabbi, what is it? Is the one you can do that he will tell you to do, the one you cannot do. That's why you see they're always asking them. It was said before, this is what we need to do. So they wanted to come and hear him to say, because they said his own yoke is easy. His own yoke is easy. My yoke is easy. And my burden is light. And so he was talking to them. And he said so many things from Matthew chapter 5. In verse 6, he wanted to deal with something. There are three things he dealt with in chapter 6, but we'll look at one. He dealt with one thing that we'll look at that is plaguing the world today, plaguing everybody today. People are thinking, what will next year be like in our nation? Some people are thinking, what will my life be like? Well, what will the life of my children be like? I want to give them a good opportunity in life. And I want to secure their future, as we have secured the future initiative here. I want to secure their future so that they will not suffer what I suffered. The question I need to ask today, do you trust God with yourself? Do you trust God with yourself? Do you trust God with yourself? Do you? Do you trust your future into the hands of God? Or you trust it into your own hands that is here today and gone tomorrow? If you look at creation, you will see that God is trustworthy. If you look at creation. And Jesus was telling them about worry. You see, in the making of an aeroplane, the landing and the taking of an aeroplane, it was about the vulture bird. Go and check a vulture. A vulture, before it takes off, must run and take off. And when it lands, it must run. The bat is a bird without eyes, but flies and none of them collide. I've seen bats flying, and they don't collide. In fact, they hang upside down. You are the one that said they hang upside down. To them, they are straight because they don't have eyes. And how can they move like that? Same. The spider has been making suspension bridges. And today we have suspension bridges. Most design of cars, if you look at the front, is like the eyes of an ant or an insect. Why do they do that? Because creation shows the trustworthiness of God. The trustworthiness of God. There's no day you put food in your stomach, including you put poison, you must digest. Why? The trustworthiness of God. As little as the ant, he can take care of the ant. What about me? One day I saw as I was exercising, I saw a mango on the tree. It's still there, but it's been eaten by birds. I said, so even God can put food there for them. What about me? Jesus said, take no thought of your life. When we say take no thought, many people think, does he think I should not think? No, he said, don't worry. Don't worry. Every day comes with its own challenge. David said, your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. A lamp unto my feet, in other words, I just have sufficient light to take one or two steps before the next step appears to me. I'm not saying you should not plan your life. Plan it. But if what you plan now, you actually got everything as you planned, step by step, when you got to 10 years, say, thank God, yes, the way I planned it is the way I entered. You may be out of God's plan. One of our speaker's wife was around last weekend, Pastor Banky, was in church for service, and she came and she met me. We were friends in university, and she asked me, how did you become a pastor? I said, I don't know. Really, I don't know. If you ask me any profession I want to do in life, not this one. It wasn't in my plan. When you have plan, it wasn't in my plan. Even if you wake me up, I will not even. And I now walked in a place where I see church finish. It wasn't my plan. I was happy. I planned myself, and it was working well. I got a permanent job 7 months into my NYSC. I was dressing like a banker from year 3. I was buying business day every Monday morning. And I was declaring in my mouth I will never look for a job. Because I know I will be in the corporate world, I will just do some academic work. But everything, everything. So when I tell you not to worry, I know. Your problem today is enough for you than thinking of how it will be tomorrow. It's enough. I want to share some few thoughts about worry. I want you to understand that worry comes to steal the present. You can't live in the present. It comes to steal the present. As I'm here now, some of you cannot hear me. You are not hearing me now as I'm talking. You are just here. You're just here. You're not here. You're not, you are physically, I can see you. So worry is therefore a failure to be present. That's why your children will say, Mommy, are you listening to me? Because they're asking you questions, you're answering on another level. You are answering them based on what you have thought about their questions. I went for a conference called The Catalyst. The title of the theme of that conference that year was Be Present. Be present. The present you cannot enjoy, tomorrow you are taking bad. And Jesus addressed it. You know what? Three things that makes you not to be present. They are very big: food, drink, and clothes. He said, Pastor, no, it's self-fulfillment. It's self-fulfillment. He said, when you get the self-fulfillment, it reduces back so that you can meet food, clothing, and the basic, so that you don't need to worry. It's these three things. So that when you can... As I'm talking now, you are thinking of what you give your children on Monday evening. You are trying to plan the food. You're trying to plan it. You're trying to... your clothes. I have 3 weddings. You are in church. This wedding is on Saturday. I wonder how you are going for 3 weddings. But let's you are thinking right now as I'm talking, what I'm saying now. Which clothes? Okay. Susan has not made my dress. Oh, as you are here now, you take your phone. Susan, where's the dress? Say, let me quickly put that one aside. You are thinking, oh, that one is burnt orange. That one is dirty green. That one is... there's everything I hear now. Different colors I hear. I'm tired. Before you know, it says there's fuchsia red. You are thinking, where will I change in all these 3 places? And my makeup artist has traveled. You see, these are the 3 things that make you not to be present. Based on what is happening in Nigeria today, the next thing is to move. We move. With J. And when we get to that place, if it doesn't work too, with J, the earth is the Lord's. And the fullness thereof. There's no... When you get worried, there's all kinds of innovation you come up with. All kinds of creativity. All kinds of ways to hide. You're worried about your marriage, worried about your children, worried about everything, worried about even be worried about your grandchildren that you are not yet married, but your grandchildren. You're worried. You're worried. That means that you can't trust God with yourself. You can't trust God with your future. You can't trust God even with your children. Number 2, worry distracts you from the real future. Distracts you from the real future. The way you are now, you are thinking of a bad future. Of a bad future. I've seen people say, oh, I have 20, oh, this 50,000 I'm earning. Is it what will not make me to buy ML? Will not make me to build a house? Will not make me do this? Will not make me do this? At the end of, you are thinking 10 years time, because in 10 years time, there's a belief that my salary will still be 50,000. And you get creative and innovative. Now where did they walk? You get very creative. You get very creative. Because there's nothing you cannot do when you are fearful, when you are worried. No wonder Apostle Paul said in Philippians 4, be anxious for nothing. He took it further. Be anxious for nothing. Anwuli was reading a scripture today and they flashed it in NIV. I said, this lady she saw my message. And I turned over it and it said in verse 19 of Psalm 94 in the NIV, it said, when anxiety was great within me, your consolation brought me joy. When anxiety was filled within me, your consolation brought me joy. I need joy in my life. Your consolation. No. It didn't say when anxiety was filled within me, you now brought the tin and I was filled with joy. Anything you get now that makes you happy is temporal. It's temporal. The iPhone 13 Pro Max that you have been pursuing is in your hand now. Are you not tired? Huh? You are tired. But you are worried that if I don't, somebody told me, and Pastor Daniel Bazonga told me, a person selling phone, a girl called him and said, I have this money to give to you for the iPhone Pro Max, but it's not complete. I will sleep with you for 15 times to cover up. Now, sir, what do you think? Say, is 15 times too small? Maybe we'll increase it so that we can balance it. That's a balanced payment of iPhone Pro Max. I have BlackBerry passport. You know how BlackBerry was doing you? I may not know what my future holds, but I know the holder of the future, and I've entrusted my future into his hands. Please close your eyes now, everybody, and tell me how Nigeria will be next year. I know you didn't close your eyes. Some of you close your eyes. Any conclusion you bring out now is wrong. You know why I say you should close your eye? Because I'm going to the... Worry affects your imagination. It affects your imagination. Last year, what you were worried about, did it come to pass? Why? There are two things that God gave us as a gift, but the enemy fights with us with it. Number one, your memory. And number two, your imagination. Your memory was supposed to build to the altars to the faithfulness of God constantly. That what God has done for me in the past. No wonder David, when he got to, two things kicked into David's life. As he saw men, including the king who was taller than everybody, could not come out for Goliath. David came out and said, I've dealt with the bears and the lions. Memory. Are you going to tell me that the bear did not enjoy him? But he now said, the God that delivered me, faithfulness of his altar. He built an altar to the faithfulness of God by his memory. And he now said, this bloody Philistine, his imagination kicked in. And said, this bloody Philistine, I believe, the same way God did it. Why? He has been faithful in the past. He will still be faithful in the future. Are you not the one that always declared to me, Jesus the same? Can't you see that most of the scriptures are here? Oh, I know here. He said, Pastor, I know, but let's face reality. And the question I only ask, which of the reality, my own or your own? Or God's own? Because I have my own, my wife has her own. In the same household. But God has his own. And if my own does not line up with God's own, no matter how I speak good English, for his ways are higher than my own. His thoughts higher than my own. There's nobody that will go to heaven now as you meet Jesus. Jesus say, my God, I thought my ways were higher. I thought my thoughts were higher until I met you. You are too much. You are too much. Every day we need a constant upgrade. God cannot be upgraded. It's constant. Sometimes the safest place you can be is in the front of a war front. Than in your house. Because in that war front, that's where the will of God is for your life at that point in time. So, close your eyes again. What do you think about next year for your life? In this our wonderful country. I'm aware they have increased school fees now. September is Kosha Karia. Bula Karia Mo Shakaria. Pare Kabara. Some of you say, I thank God that my child is still 2 years. Some of you are saying, see why I didn't marry. You are solving it very well. I've told my friend, where the hurry go, not be this life with day. Tap your brother and says, be here, 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 be here. As you tap somebody, say, that's why when you leave church, somebody will ask you, say, Like, they listen to that guy. I don't have. Worry has kicked everything. And you know what? And being generous does not mean that you have the money. It's just that you know how it works. Because when people are generous, people want to load them with so many responsibility. When you don't have money, you call the person. When you don't have this thing, you call the person, thinking that the person is your Alpha and Omega. No. It's just that the person that is doing that understand that I can't help but to be generous. I can't help. Why? Naked you came, naked you will go. So some of the things you are storing away, what if something come and say, I require you today?